So today on Away and Abroad, I have my good friend Eli Rooney, who's going to be talking to us about his solo travels. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate you.
So my first question is, what inspired you to start traveling, and when was your first solo trip?
What inspired me? That's a really good question. I just feel like traveling is a family thing now when I think about it. Just ever since I was young, my family would take me to Boston or Florida, take me to South Carolina, Georgia. My parents always wanted me and my siblings to travel and travel all over the place. So it's really like not even an inspiration sort of thing. It's just like it's in my genes, it's in my blood.
A lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And you're from New York originally, right?
Yeah, originally I'm from New York, and right now I live in Jersey.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
Well, I always am so envious of people who are from the East Coast because I think it's such a cool place to travel. Like there you can go to so many like diverse places in like a quick train ride, a bus ride, or a flight. So that's really cool that that was part of your growing up experience too.
Not even just like the planes or the trains, but it's also the cars. Like just the road trips that we would take from New York all the way down to South Carolina. Even when I was super young and I couldn't actually drive, but it's just nice to like, just be in the same car as your family and just spending 12 hours. And, you're a little bit cramped, but it builds character. And I agree. It's just the states aren't that big. You could go through like the entire East Coast in like 15, 16 hours. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you still travel with your family now? Like, does that still feel kind of like special and nostalgic for you?
Yes and yes. Now when I think about it, as we got older, we've taken more plane rides than anything else. But more recently, the last few months, my family did take a road trip down to South Carolina, to visit some family. And once again, it brought back that nostalgic feeling of like, like, all right, we gotta get in the car and then we gotta make this pit stop here. We gotta get gas here. It's just the only difference now is that now I can drive. So now I'm like, all right, yo, let me put in 5, 7 hours in. It's your turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, 1,000%.
I know you have a brother, right?
I
Anyone
have two.
else? Two.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Technically, I also have two sisters, but yeah, yeah.
Didn't you go on a trip with like your dad in recent years? I feel like I remember you talking about that. Was that to Iceland?
Right. So me, my brother, my father, and my god brother, we went to Iceland, and then that was like 2 years ago for Christmas. No, 3 years ago because time is just flying. And then technically 2 years ago for Christmas, we went to Bali. So yeah.
Nice. How far was the plane ride to Bali?
The plane rides because it's two. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
gosh.
We're talking a 24, 25, maybe a 26-hour commute from like my place all the way to the hotel in Bali. But like you wouldn't imagine what I did right after the flight.
What did you do right after that flight?
Okay, so I need you to imagine this. You just traveled 26 hours from your doorstep to the hotel. It's 1:30 in the morning and you got like 4 hours of interrupted sleep. I'm talking like you probably took like 10 to 20 hour naps here and there, right? But you didn't really like sleep well. Autumn, what are you doing in that moment in time?
Just going to bed.
You're going to bed, right? That's the responsible thing to do. What I did was booked a sunrise hike up Mount Batur. Now, the thing about this hike, you're supposed to see like the most gorgeous sunrise in all of like Bali and all of the world from the top of Mount Batur. So I figured that if they're gonna like come pick you up at 2:30 in the morning, I might as well just stay up. So I'm 1:30. I might as well just stay up an extra hour. That's what I did. I stayed up for an extra hour. And then I remember looking at the reviews again, and there was like only one review, but it was good. And it was in French. So like like me was just like, and it texted me in broken English. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to get kidnapped.
That
And
is
then
so brave because I don't do anything unless there's a million good reviews. But
I thought there
you're
was a
like, I
million.
trust this one French person. Let's go.
Apparently, and don't get me wrong, there was like multiple tours that did the same thing, but I think this one was the cheapest. So I was like, all right, let's go for the cheapest.
Budget travel be like,
So they hit me up and they was like, all right, we're outside the hotel. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, they probably got like a bus full of tourists that all want to do the same sunrise hike. So I'm gonna see that. So I go out the hotel with my gear and I see a white van. And I'm like, this might actually be it. I might actually get kidnapped. First 3 hours in Asia, I'll never see my family ever again. I get in there and there's a guy and a girl, both in the front seat. The guy drives, but he doesn't speak English, and the girl barely speaks English. And when I say girl, I mean woman, so man and woman, right? Um, And it was just like, all right, cool, you ready to go? I'm like, yeah. So now she's asking me all these questions. She's like, oh, where you from? I'm like, I'm from New York. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, how long is that flight? I'm like, 24, 25 hours. It was like, oh my gosh, you must be tired. If you want, you could take a nap and we'll just wake you up when we get there. I'm like, no, I'm good on that. I don't sleep on commutes. I got my phone in my hand on the GPS on to make sure that we're going to where you say you're gonna take me. Okay.
You're like, my eyes will not be closing on this trip.
Even though every single cell in my body wants to rest, I'm not doing that right now. Like I'm just not doing
Hmm.
that right now. I remember driving up there and I started asking her questions like, oh, like how's life in Bali? Like what was life growing up? I even asked her like, can you teach me some like Indonesian? Like, nah, we don't speak Indonesian over here. We speak Balinese in Bali. So I was like, all right, cool. Can you teach me some Balinese? And then she taught me like all these lists of words, but the most important one for this story is Salamat pagi. Salamat pagi means good morning. So if you
Okay.
greet someone in the morning, salamat pagi.
Hmm.
So after like 2.5 hours, we get to the base of the mountain. I see all these tourists, all these tour guides, and I'm like, all right, perfect. I could trust people because I got here safe and sound at
Yeah.
4 in the morning when it's still dark out. So I get out of the van and I'm thinking that one of these two awesome people was gonna guide me up this mountain hike. And
Hmm.
then they was like, no, we're too old for this. We're gonna facilitate you to this 17-year-old kid. I'm like, okay, you are now my new friend. They give me and the kid a flashlight and we start heading up and we start walking along this path. It's paved, and we start walking past all these other tourists and all these other tour guides because we're fit, we're young, we're in shape. And in my head, I'm like, I don't get it. When I watch this tour on YouTube, they always talk about the beginning of the hike and then the end of the hike, but they never show the middle of the hike. Okay. That's
Suspicious.
very suspicious. And they always
Hmm.
keep saying that this hike was challenging. This is supposed to be an easy hike, level one, level two hike, but like people, all these tourists dripping in sweat, contemplating their lives. And as soon as I thought that, the kid walks into the trail, and I'm like, here we go. Now this is the challenge. And I started like walking over like these like lava rocks, and like it's hard to see everything because everything is so dark. And then like we're going higher and higher, and mind you, like it doesn't help that I have like a backpack full of gear on. Eventually we had to stop for me to catch my breath, and I remember looking up at the stars and it was so beautiful, and I was just like, yo, this is amazing, bro. Like we don't get this in New York because of like the light pollution. And he's looking at me like I have two heads because he doesn't speak English. And we keep going. I catch my breath. And then I do recall seeing farm lights in the distance. So it gave me a sense of like we're going high up and we're going far, but I don't know where because it's still dark. So every now and then I kept having like to stop and catch my breath and stop and catch my breath and then keep going and stop and catch my breath. And eventually the other tour groups started catching up to us. And the whole point was for me to get up to this mountain slash volcano before sunrise so I could witness the sun to rise. Okay, that's the whole point of the excursion. So I started seeing like the sky light up a little bit, and I'm not at the top yet. I'm racing against time. And I was like, I'm exhausted, but I gotta get up there because like I gotta get my money's worth, I gotta get my experience worth. But it's so exhausting. Like kid, with whatever English that he has left, he's just like, bro, like we're like 60 minutes left. We're 50 minutes left. Yo, I think I'm about to miss it. Like the sky's like golden hour. He's like 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left. And then I remember when I get to the top, I'm gonna get to a cliff and I'm gonna yell out Salamat Pagi Bali in Balinese. Some of the tour guys was passing us. I would greet them in Balinese. I'll be like Salamat Pagi, Salamat Pagi. They would hit me with the
Hmm.
Pagi, and I'm like, oh, I'm one of them. You feel me? Like
Yes.
I'm speaking Balinese.
I'm a local now.
I'm a local. I'm one of them. Finally get up there. And all I see is like a whole bunch of tourists and a whole bunch of tour guides. And like I see a whole bunch of hikers and photographers like just all vibing up there. Right. I'm like, yo, I finally made it up here. Where's that cliff? So I'm standing on top of the second tallest mountain slash volcano in Bali. I am now directly looking at the tallest mountain in Bali. In between that mountain and the mountain I'm standing on is this gigantic lake, like, and around that lake is a whole bunch of farmland and jungle and this, that, and the third. And to the left and right of me, I see a whole bunch of mountain ranges caked up in jungle. And then, like, behind that tallest mountain is the Indian Ocean and some clouds. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, all right, this is my moment. Get on the cliff, stand, and whatever energy I have left, I'm like, Salame pagi bale. Autumn. Not even 10 seconds later, the sun comes from right behind that mountain. Yes.
Wow. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. It's like you summoned it.
It was at that moment, Autumn. that I knew I was the main character.
That's right.
And after
Hmm.
that, I took some pictures, took some videos, for the gram, for the YouTube, and
Okay.
then we started heading down, but we head down a different way. And in the beginning of like the descent was the sketchiest part, but after that, like we was practically racing through the jungle. We was like running. So now we're like we cut through the farmland and we're back at the parking lot. Right after the tour, but they suggested if I wanted to go to a coffee plantation. So I was like, all right, these people seem like cool people. I trust them because they got me to the mountain. If they want to show me this coffee thing, sure. But I gotta be back to my hotel to meet up with my family. So I was hanging out at the coffee plantation, met a fine John, so she was super cute. We vibed out and I'm mad I couldn't get her. I asked her for her Instagram and she gave me her plantation's Instagram and I was just like, no, like that's not what I wanted.
She was like, no, you can follow
Not
my work
even
though.
No, not even. She was totally oblivious. I saw it in her face. I saw it in her face. She was like, "Oh yeah, this is our Instagram," and I'm like, "That's not what I."
Oh, so she just didn't even.
Yeah, just like, just like it was like,
Bummer.
yeah. But
Did they have any like roasted and brewed?
yeah. They had it like
Okay.
prepared, or they prepared it like right in front of us.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it wasn't just coffee too. It was like tea as well. So
How did
yeah.
it taste?
I'm not a coffee drinker. The coffee was okay, but I think coffee drinkers would have loved it. Um,
Probably.
I love the tea.
Was it like anything that we have here?
The ginger tea, they called it rat ginger. And it was like ginger on steroids, and it tasted really good. Not only tasted really good, but it opened up my sinuses. Then the lemon tea obviously tastes like lemon, but it tasted so like fresh. It tasted like it gave me a hug. You know what I'm talking about? Like it felt so good, especially after a hike. You need a hug. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Absolutely. If there was ever a time, it would be
yeah.
then.
I didn't fall asleep. I went straight to the beach to meet all my family, and I remember just staying up until like 7 at night.
Awesome. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing. That was a great story.
No problem.
Would you do it again?
The hike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 1000%. Life
All
lessons on
right.
that hike. What do you talk? Actually, no, I might take that back because sometimes you have such a good experience the first time and you think you could replicate it the second time and it doesn't hit the same the second time. So
That's
yeah, I don't know.
true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's like the blessing and the curse of travel too. When was your first solo trip?
The first time I traveled alone, I did it for my 25th birthday, 2021. I went to Hawaii. That's like when the pandemic was at its peak, but like it was also tailoring down in 2021. And I invited four of my friends, and all of them backed out for whatever reason. And you know how like when your friends back out, you don't feel like going no more. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh,
nah,
I'm so
screw that.
sorry.
No, it's fine. I was like, screw that. I'm about to just go back. I'll just go to Hawaii anyways. Like,
Yeah, good for you.
oh my gosh, yeah. It was the best experience. Like one of the best gifts I could ever give myself.
That's
Without
awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely get into it. But that reminds me of whenever I tell people I solo travel, they're always like, clutching pearls. And it's like, yeah, I would like to visit with people. And I have a lot of friends who travel, but it's like our destinations never seem to line up at the right time. So I totally get that. How did you go about planning for your trip to Hawaii? Like, did you book the trip like 6 months in advance, or like how did you do it like budget wise? And then logistically, were there like priorities that you wanted to like hit while you're there?
wow, we're talking like 4 years ago, I'm not gonna lie. So just bear with the details. Planning it about 6 months sounds about right. I usually plan my birthday about 6 months in advance. I'm one of those weird people. Getting the hotel, I want to say a good 3, 4 months in advance is something I would do. But it's so funny because now when I think about it, I remember I booked through Airbnb, but I think I booked the Airbnb before I got the flight, as you should. But then I remember my flight is like 2 days away, and I'm like just making sure I'm still like good for the Airbnb. But then I realized I booked the Airbnb the day after I was supposed to arrive in Hawaii. Yeah. So I was like scrambling for I was scrambling for like 24 hours looking for another hotel to stay in for like a day.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, because it was booked the night before.
yeah,
You
because it was
couldn't
booked the night
extend.
before.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So that first night, like I finessed it. That first night I stayed near the strip in Waikiki. If anybody's listening to this and familiar with Hawaii is, so I found a hotel closer to the strip. It looked a little bit more rundown, I should say, just a little
Sure.
bit,
Hmm.
but it was most definitely a vibe. It was most definitely for like the Instagram pics, you know what I'm talking about.
Totally.
And it was just like super convenient, just like walk out and just like be on the strip. But then the next day. Oh my gosh, I'm like remembering it all because I also decided not to get the car rental until the day after for some weird reason. Yeah, yeah, it was 25-year-old me just wasn't really thinking, but like
Okay, so maybe this is advice of like what not to do.
yeah, yeah, what not to do. Okay, make sure you get the
Just
car
triple
rental.
confirm your dates, first of
Yeah,
all.
everything,
Okay,
everything.
everything.
But then I remember the day after I took the Uber straight back to the airport because that's where the car was. Picked up the Ford Mustang, casual. At the drop the top, on my 25th birthday. You feel me?
You only
Um,
turned 25 once.
only once. And then I was driving around like Hawaii in the city, and just I also met up with some friends the day before because I was just like wanting to be social. And then I remember getting to the high rise hotel apartment around 4 p.m. to check in. It was just like the views were immaculate, the space was immaculate. Like it just felt like more prestige, and it felt more like a. Don't get me wrong, like the first one was good, but the second one, what I'm talking about,
You're
it
like,
was
this is
really
what I came
good.
for.
Yeah, exactly. And then budgeting stuff, it's easy to budget and it's easy to have the money when the year before you didn't do anything because it's the pandemic, so you're pretty much stuck inside. So
Totally.
it's yeah, it is easy to save the money and then it's also equally easy to blow most of the money away in Hawaii. Um very responsible. I have yet to get my bank account back. So back to where it was in 2020, but it's fine. I had the best birthday on the planet.
That's
Um
right.
my favorite birthday of my 20s. So
Nice.
um and then excursions. I'm big on excursions. I'm big on activities. I don't know how people could go on vacation and just stay on the beach for 5 days straight, 10 days straight. I was literally getting bored of that after the second day in Waikiki, just seeing the same things over and over again. That's why I'm so glad I got the car rental. On that island on Oahu, I went skydiving, surfing, cliff jumping. Obviously, I went to the beach. I went hiking. I went to the botanical gardens, and I went out to like some restaurants in different parts of the island just to like have some of the food and just enjoy the vibes. And I hung out with some of my friends that were just so happened to be out there. I worked out with them, and they took me to the beach for my birthday, specifically on my birthday. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that reminds me of a conversation I had with Jen a few weeks ago on the show. And we were talking about how you can find like anything you need along the way. So she did a trip around the world and ended up in where was it again?
New Zealand.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
memory.
yeah. I just listened to it. Yeah,
Okay, cool. You did your research.
and I did. Shout out to her.
Nice. Yes. And so she bought a winter coat and boots, and it was just like, yeah, so cool that it's like anything you need along the way, like you can find it. And I think meeting friends along the way is just like so perfect. Odds are, especially if you're in a place that's like very touristy, you're gonna come across people who are also there to have an escape as well.
Yeah, 1000%. Because I remember that first night after getting my massage, I'm just like promoting Hawaii.
Totally.
Um, I remember going to the beach and overheard like two or three people talking about like their Instagrams and their photography endeavors. And then I was just like, if I don't go up to them and meet them right now, I'm probably not going to meet anybody here, and I'm probably going to be bored AF this entire trip.
Mhm.
And that's one thing about solo traveling that some people might not say is that it's lonely, but it's not like, oh man, like my life sucks lonely. It's just more like you got nowhere to eat with. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
bored, what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Positives is like you could be on your own time, but then the negatives is just like sometimes you just want to like chill with people and you go out to meet new people.
I have a friend who we wanted to plan a trip together. It just never worked out. And our ideal like travel companion would be if we could have the choice to go have our solo days and then come together for dinner, just like talk about the day. I feel like that is like perfect.
1000%.
Well, it sounds like you really enjoyed all of Hawaii as well, like surfing, skydiving, cliff jumping.
Yeah, yeah, I had to jump off the
Wow.
cliff a couple times. Yeah.
Awesome. What
Mm.
did you do for your birthday? Like, what was like the dinner like?
The main event, like the main birthday, I met all my friends out there because even though I met some friends, I had one friend that lived out there, like before.
Oh,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
cool.
I wanted to hang out with him the day after my birthday. But he was like, nah, bro, just come through. You know, I'm talking about we'll do things. I'll teach you how to dance. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I go out to the beach to meet up with them. And shouts out to Rico, him and our Rip Fitness crew, they doing their thing. But I'm thinking to myself, all right, I see his stories, he's always dancing, right? So I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna go to the beach, for my birthday. I'm gonna learn how to dance, maybe talk to a few girls. It's gonna be simple.
Yep.
And I go out there and he has like workout weights. And I'm like, oh, he must use these to like pin down the tents.
Okay.
So yeah, so next thing you know, I'm working out at noon in the Hawaii sun with weights. And it's like a
Like,
full body workout.
this is not it.
I weirdly enough, it kicked my butt, but I enjoyed it. Like I really like to work out. So it was nice to be challenged in that way of like, oh man, like I thought I was doing like a good job with my fitness goals, and like they're just like, you could do better. But it was most definitely like an inviting experience amongst the whole entire group. 1000%. It was just the workout itself. It's like when you do any sort of intense workout, it's intense. But then when you do it in at noon in Hawaii, like it just adds to, the intensity.
Is the
No, my
elevation higher?
Nah, because we did it at the beach, so it was like at sea level.
Okay.
But it's just hot. Like it's just like the sun is just
Sure.
like, hey, I'm still here, right?
Right.
It's still like 85 degrees right now, so
Totally.
after the workout, we showered a little bit and got some Chinese food, and then he took me to the beach, like just a group, and we drank a little bit, we danced a little bit. It was a vibe.
Nice. So I was gonna ask, did you end up learning how to dance?
Oh my gosh. Yes, actually. So before that, I had no idea how to salsa, like at all. And then it looked super intimidating, but one girl just broke it down, and I'm just like, wait a minute, I'm actually doing this. Like,
Awesome. So
yeah,
you got a new skill to take home with you.
yeah.
Is there such a thing when you go to Hawaii as like an authentic experience, or does it feel so like touristy now that it's kind of like a character of itself, or how would you describe the vibe?
It depends on what you do and where you go, 1000%. Because I feel like I was doing a lot of touristy stuff. I remember watching my brother when he went for his 25th birthday, and it felt more like local stuff. Because once again, like my friend was also his friend. So he was hanging out with them a lot more than just being touristy. But you're not interviewing him, you're interviewing me. So yeah, 1000%. I felt like it was touristy. It's just that when you think about touristy stuff in Hawaii, you might think of just the beach. But once again, I want to go on the hikes. I want to go jump out of a plane. You know what I'm talking about? You might think of surfing, so I did the surfing. Um, and one thing that you really don't know until you actually get to that island on Oahu is how big that island is on the low key. So you get to see all these sites that like it's not touristy, but they're scenic and they're beautiful. And I think that's the part of Hawaii that like it's obvious, but you got to see it. Like you really got to see it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I have not been there yet, but I really want to. It feels like a classic must go place. Did you go during like a touristy time, or are there times that are like peak seasons? I would assume anytime that's not like hurricane season, which I know is in October.
To answer your first question, I think because my birthday is at the end of June. So if anything, that might be like out of school season.
True.
The only other thing I want to say about that is I wouldn't want to go in December because the waves are already vicious in the Pacific Ocean, but they get worse in November, December, January, and February.
Huh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. If
That's a
you go
good
out there,
PSA.
yeah, good PSAs.
Had you gone surfing before your trip to Hawaii?
No, I never been surfing. That was the first time I went surfing. Can I tell you my surfing story really quick?
Please.
I'll condense it so you don't have
No,
to
you're
edit it.
good.
But like I said before, I never surfed a day in my life. I got a surfing instructor to teach me one on one. Taught me, the basics on the sand, how to get up on the board and this and the third. And he was like, "All right, I think you're ready to like hit the water." I was like, "Let's do it," you know.
Hmm.
And the thing about Hawaii that's different from like the East Coast is that the drop off is like within 6 to 7 feet. Like you could take literally like a few steps and then you're in a deep end. Like it's actually,
Really?
yeah, it makes no sense.
Wow.
So it felt very like relaxing and calming to be on a board in the deep end when you didn't even go out that far yet. Like it's just very
Hmm.
like just a different feeling. And then I remember I remember the first wave that came by, he was like, "All right, listen, you're gonna paddle like how I taught you, right? And then when I say get up, all I want you to do is get up on that board and balance just how I taught you." I was like, "All right, cool, that's simple." The first wave that came out, he was like, all right, start paddling. And then I started paddling. He was like, get up. I got up, but then I wiped out. All right, cool. Second time, same thing. All right, start paddling. All right, get up. I got up, wiped out. It is what it is. Like if you surf, like if you learn how to surf, this is gonna happen. Third time, he was like, "Are you ready for this?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And by the time I'm a little bit exhausted because surfing shape is a little bit. So he was like, "All right, start paddling." I paddle, and I'm waiting for him to tell me to get up, but I don't hear it. So the wave comes crashing down on me. Yeah. So like now I'm
No.
scrambling over the water because I'm not the strongest swimmer, but I do know the board is close by because it's attached to my foot. So I turn around, I see the board, but now I'm so exhausted from like the other two times that I'm like hunched over the board just to catch my breath. You know what I'm talking about? Because we need to
Hmm.
catch our breath. And then here comes another wave. And like
Now you're just
and
in a washing machine.
now I'm just in a washing machine, right?
Yeah.
And granted, these waves are no more than 2 to 3 feet over the water, but you have to remember my at the time 5'10" body is mostly submerged over the water. So these waves might as well have been 10 to 15 feet, right? And he's telling me to let go of the board. I can't hear him too well. I'm like, the board is the only thing keeping me up. So I'm clutching it harder. And the wave just not just collides me. I'm in the washing machine this down a third. I come back up. I'm like, all right, hunched over, just catch my breath. And here comes another wave, right? And I'm just like, yo, what the heck? Collides, and I come back up, hunched over. And here comes another, like, I kid you not, like three of them back to back just like rocked me. And it was at that moment in time, I was like, I want to be home in my bed where it's dry and safe.
Yeah.
And I just get collided. After the collision, I get on the board immediately, like butt on board immediately, because I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. And then he's just like, he was over, he's like, yo, you're good. I'm like, yo, just give me a few seconds to find my cojones, please. Like let me let me gather myself. And after like a few minutes, we kept attempting over and over again, and I kept wiping out. But then eventually, I started like actually like surfing like on the board, and it felt super majestic. Are you an Avatar: The Last Airbender fan or no?
Um, Not really, but
Okay,
maybe there's
fine.
some listeners who know.
Okay. If anybody knows who the painted lady is and how she glided over the water, it felt like I was the painted lady. I know that sounds weird for a girl man to say, but it is what it is. The
No,
point is,
I
it felt
love it.
super majestic gliding over the water. And there was a couple times where like I successfully did it because I wiped out most of the time. Another thing about surfing, other than like if a wave comes, you should let go of the board. Wherever your head is turning, you're gonna start turning in that direction. So I remember seeing a guy looking at me surfing and he's like cheering me on. And I give him one of these, right? I'm looking down at him, but then I start turning in that direction and I cut off like two surfers, like a
Yeah.
menace. It's the final time, right? Now my surfer instructor was like, "You ready to go out there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And I see this fine girl, bro. I was like, "Yo, I'm ready." In my mind, I'm like, whether she's watching me or not, I gotta do it, bro.
Put on my painted lady.
Put my painted lady. Don't make fun of me. Anyways,
No, it's great. I love it.
I started paddling, and he's like, "All right, get up on the board." And I get up on the board, and I wipe out, and I'm like, "Yo."
No.
He was like, "You ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he had to drag me back to the shore, and I'm like, I told him, yeah, I had a phenomenal time, and like it was good to like learn that experience. He was like, "All right, cool, glad you got your money's worth." And then right before I was leaving the beach, I saw that same girl, and I'm like, I can't talk to her. I can't approach her. Like she might have seen me wipe out in dramatic fashion.
Oh my gosh. Well, had you done a perfect surf, would you have talked to her?
Yeah, 1000%. I would have been like, "Hey, what's your name?" Talking about,
Mhm.
I was the black guy that just served because ain't none of us out here, doing the thing. So, so yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Represent.
Yeah, represent exactly. From New York. You feel me? Like
That's
no
right.
York. Exactly.
Oh, next time.
And next time, next
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Wow, that's so awesome though. It reminds me of like I think I want to snorkel someday, and I think those experiences can seem really intimidating because if you're a beginner at something in a place that you don't have a lot of time in, it can feel like I don't know if you weighed this of like, will it be worth the time? But I think it's like totally worth the effort. I mean, you had your painted lady moment. That feels like
Exactly.
so worth it to me.
Felt so much. I felt so majestic, you know. So
Yeah, I'll
I can't
remember
believe I
that
told you that.
forever. I love that. Anything else you'd like to share from Hawaii that would be like, yeah, is there anything that like you think people don't know about Hawaii that would be important for them to be aware of as a traveler there?
This might be obvious to some, but not to all. Please be respectful of the nature. It's okay to make mistakes and accidents here and there, but if you can, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what you touch and what you want to mess with, if that makes sense.
Like on hikes or in the water?
Not even just in hikes or in the water, but even something like I remember the guy that I met on the first day, we was hanging out, we was driving around. I remember I was like starving, bro. Like I was just like, we got to get to like the poke spot because I want to eat, you know? And like I had the right of way because you'll understand this, okay? So like I have the green light, right? And I want to make this right. So when I made the right, apparently I cut off the person that was crossing that crosswalk over there,
Hmm.
not in front of me, but to the right of me. Right. And my friend was looking at me like I was crazy. He was like, yo, why'd you do that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I had the green light. They were supposed to look out for me because I'm so
Hmm.
used to like how, you know, I'm talking about how we
Like
do
in
it
New
out here.
York. Yeah.
Yeah, but like
Hmm.
they have Japanese influence of like, and I know this for a fact because I just been to Japan a few months ago, but they have this Japanese influence of if someone is literally like foot on the street, you know, top the driver will stop for that person, and like,
Yeah.
you know, that's just respect. So,
Hmm.
yeah, most definitely, like, just be aware, just be flexible, be respectful of other people and just the environment around you.
That's great advice. That reminds me of what Jen said as well about just looking up if there's like gestures that are offensive in other countries or other, yeah, things like traffic courtesies that you may not be aware of.
Yeah, 1000.
So speaking of Japan,
Right.
um, great segue. Um, yeah, how many words did you have to like learn to feel like you could get around okay?
Words. I want to say about 10-ish, 11-ish, because especially in like the touristy areas of like Tokyo and stuff, they'll do their best to cater to you and like with the English. Google Translate, like you said, Jen, right? That was
Yeah.
she also went to Japan. Yeah, she's right. Google Translate is your friend. But there's a certain way you have to go about it. You don't just like Google Translate something and then shove it in their face and be like, you know what I'm talking about? You hit them with the sumimasen, you know what I'm talking about? And then you might be like, and it'd be like, arigato gozaimasu, right? Or if you're super bold about it, you would attempt to translate what like speak it. You know what I'm talking about? You would like show them what you're reading and then you want to read it out loud and then it'll be like, all right, this guy is trying or this girl is trying.
Hmm.
Um, don't find me weird for this, but there's actually like one phrase that it's super important. That's not like konnichiwa or like arigato gozaimasu, like all those basic phrases. Um,
Yeah.
so my favorite Japanese phrase that um I would recommend to anybody that's going to Japan is kore o kudasai. Kore o
Kore,
kudasai.
kudasai. Okay.
I'll text it to you.
Yeah, that'd be
And
great.
if you want, you can put it on the screen. But
That'd be perfect. It's like I'm such a visual learner that it's so hard for me to like hear because I've been learning Spanish, not to diverge, but yeah, it's like I'm realizing how hard it is for me to like hear a different language and different sounds really is what it is. And then to like verbally say it, I need to like see it phonetically. So anyway, that's a great tip. And what does that mean?
It means that your mother's ugly. No, I'm playing. So, imagine. No,
Imagine.
kore or kudasai means this, please. So, like kore, it means this, and then kudasai means please. I find this the most helpful phrase because, like, once again, everybody's gonna hit you with the konnichiwa, or everybody's gonna say arigato gozaimasu. But then, if you want something, this, please. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Simple.
makes sense.
You know, it makes all the sense on the planet. I have a whole idiot story about how I needed that phrase on the first night. I'll spare you from that if you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, fine, more stories.
Yeah.
So imagine this. You just spent about 14 hours getting from your house to your Airbnb. In fact, let's say 16 hours because you know we gotta count the trains and the cars and all that stuff. You got no sleep on the plane because you don't sleep on the plane. You spent the first half of your flight watching Rick and Morty, and then you spent the second half of the flight actually learning some like Japanese phrases and words, like it's college, you study for college.
Uh-huh. Like the
Um,
deadline is in
so
6 hours,
in
so
7 hours, yes, so figure it out. And I remember after such a long flight, and it's like 8 p.m. and I'm like, all right, so we got 13 days in Japan, okay? So the only thing I want to do in this moment in time is get something to eat and get some sleep. Simple. You know what I'm talking about?
yep, priorities.
It's just me and my god brother. And then we get to the hotel and we get settled a little bit. And I'm like, all right, let's go find something to eat. And we walk around the area. We're still in Tokyo, but we're like on the outskirts of Tokyo. So in my mind, I'm like, wherever we choose, they're gonna have English menus. So I'm walking around, we see a ramen shop. And we're thinking, you know what I'm talking about? You already know
Love
where this is going.
ramen.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like what better way to start your Japan trip
Yeah, perfect.
with a bowl of ramen? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about? So we go in there, right? They see us down in Japanese. And then they hand us the iPads with the menus, and there's no English on it. Like there's no this. It's all in Japanese. It's like we're actually
No.
in Japan. Like this is real life. This isn't an
Surprise,
anime. And
surprise.
there's no subtitles. So
3D now.
yeah. It's real life. And this is before we could ever think about Google Translate because like we're just so tired. So, but I use my intuition of UX UI skills to just start pressing all the pictures of the stuff that I would want to eat. Just
Sure.
simple. I just want a bowl of ramen and some dumplings.
Yep.
My god brother just wants another bowl of ramen.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then I press a few more buttons, and I'm like, all right, yo, we just wait. My god brother was like, "You sure about that? You sure you did that right?" I'm like, "Yeah, we just wait." And he starts pressing all these buttons. A receipt pop out, boom. And we're like now arguing in the ramen shop where you're supposed to be quiet in Japan. Now
Mm-hmm.
we're arguing in the ramen shop. And then the guy sitting next to me was like, all right, these idiots need help. Let me go tap the assist button to bring an assistant. He doesn't speak any English. He's just using his eyes. He's just
Yeah.
like, these idiots need help.
Mm-hmm.
Assistance. I was like, thank you, bro. He was like, now this girl comes out of nowhere and she starts speaking Japanese at 100 miles per hour and wondering what's going on. We're looking back at her like, come on now, we just got off the plane from America. Like you just look at me and just like, come on now, like I don't understand you. And she's looking back at us like, oh my gosh, why did I get stuck with these idiots?
You're all just like trapped
We're
together.
all just confused. We're all just confused. And she just started pointing at things like, I'm like, look, listen, all I want to do is get something to eat
You're like, why didn't I learn how to say ramen on the plane?
on the plane, right? Exactly. So after all that commotion, I got my ramen, some dumplings. My godbrother got some ramen. The whole order was 100 yen more than what we originally got, which was like 66 cents. So it's not that big of a deal as a comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had the ramen, it was the most delicious bowl of ramen that we ever had. It's something in the broth. I don't know what it is, but I enjoyed my meal. The dumplings,
Mid.
mid,
Okay.
but it's a
Hmm.
ramen shop. So like I don't expect their dumplings to be good. Right.
Sure.
So we pay them in Japanese. We thanked them in Japanese, and then we walked away. And me and my godbrother was like, "Yo, like that was so embarrassing. Like, oh my gosh, like we're cooked. Like we don't know. Like, bro, we might have to start eating at the tourist spots." And I'm like, "No, because they're gonna start charging us extra money for the same thing. We got this, bro. All I needed was something to eat and sleep. I already got something to eat. All I needed was sleep. We got this." I got back to the Airbnb. I looked at him like, "Yo, listen, it's gonna be obvious. Okay, we're gonna make mistakes out here. Okay, people know that we're not from here just by looking at us, you know. But what's important is that we learn from our mistakes by the end of the night and implement what we learned in the next day." And my godbrother was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, Elijah, whatever." I'm like, "I'm serious. All right, I'm gonna go get something to sleep. Right, I'm gonna learn how to not do that ever again."
Right.
So I go to bed around like 8:30 p.m. because I'm super freaking tired. I wake up around 3:30 a.m. because of jet lag and like time differences. And in my head, I'm like, what's one way that I could avoid that? And I'm like, yo, it would have helped if I could just tell her I want this and point it to the picture, or I wanted that. And I looked it up on ChatGPT, and it literally, and I thought it was gonna be some crazy long, because when you say you're welcome, it's some crazy long paragraph or some ish like that. Okay,
Yeah.
but like I was expecting something like that. But then as soon as chat was like koreo kudasai, which is this please, or soreo kudasai, which is that please, and then kore mo kudasai is this as well, please. And I'll text you all this. I'll text you all this.
Okay, okay, thank you. I'll put it in the
But
show notes for anyone
yeah, yeah,
curious.
yeah. Yeah, put it in
Down
English and in
below.
Japanese. Yeah, put it in
Yeah.
English and Japanese. But once, yeah, Chad gave me those four different phrases. They were super simple because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember studying kore, I remember studying oh, and I remember studying kudasai. I'm like, I'm gonna just like start saying that. And I literally koreo kudasai my way through Japan. Like it didn't matter what city I was. I literally pointed to something. It was like koreo kudasai, and they actually gave it to me. Like there was no issues. It was no issues at all. Like I was speaking Japanese. Like so like I was
I was
communicating.
fluent.
I was fluent. I was communicating with the locals. And then there was this one part. It was one part we just came back from Team Labs Planet, right? And we're eating at this very touristy sushi bowl spot. I'm forgetting the name of it, but I know where it is. And I'm looking at the chef who's about to chef it up in front of us. He was like, "All right, what do you want?" I was like, "Kore o kudasai, kore mo kudasai," right? And my grandma was looking at me like, you don't gotta keep saying that. You can speak English, he'll understand you. I'm like, nah, yo, he's about to give us bonus points, you know what I'm talking about? And he actually gave me extra pieces of salmon
There you
with
go.
my bow because I spoke to him
That's right.
Japanese.
They truly were the magic words.
So to wrap up the story real quick, final night in Japan, we had to redeem ourselves. We went right back to the ramen shop. We had to, you know what I'm
Nice.
talking about. And we sat there, we translated the ish out of the entire menu. We ordered, they gave us our food. We talked about how amazing our trip was, we ate our food, we left, and it was the most calming, relaxing, boring dinner
I'm I
as it should
love that. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
bro. You know what I'm talking about, bro.
That's so awesome. I love that you went back to be like, let me do this the right way. That's so perfect. What a great like
1,000,
bookend to your trip.
1,000, 1,000, 1,000.
So cool. No, I think I love that you shared that because I think that's such a great like real world example of like, how you can just show up somewhere and like you said, learn from your mistakes. And it's just like it happens to everybody, even to people who've like traveled a ton. So, and again, people will be there on the other side to help you, even this person who like didn't even speak English. So I think, yeah, people are just kind and will help you.
If you're kind to people, people should be kind back. Simple. Simple.
Simple. Yeah. Well, where are you traveling to next? Anything booked?
Oh man. I told Instagram that I wouldn't be traveling this year because I have to get my life together. But between you and me and whoever is listening to this, my grandmother wants to go to Italy for her birthday this year, right? Her birthday is March, but she's postponing the trip till December. So,
Mhm.
to be the best grandson on the planet, I would be going to Italy. So just,
Awesome.
I will be going to Italy. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love it. And is it your 30th birthday this year?
No, my 29th birthday just passed.
Okay.
Yeah,
It just passed? Oh,
yeah,
I
just
text
passed.
you. Okay, good.
You didn't wish me a happy birthday or anything. No. Wait, hold on. No, you did.
I
Wait.
did.
Oh, yeah. My fault.
Yeah. I was like, I know I did. Well, cool. That'll be like, okay. So then do you have plans for your 30th next year or one trip at a
Company.
time?
No, it's one trip at a time. But depending on how this year goes, the rest of this year goes, I want to go to Malaysia for my 30th. Because when I went to Japan, the last day in Japan, I met a friend out there, and she keeps like bragging about like how Malaysia is like this really cool country. I did some research, and I'm like, all right, maybe if I be out there for like a few days, maybe a week, it could be lit. So, yeah, depending on how like my finances go, I might go to Malaysia
Awesome. Well, we'll have to circle back after Italy and Malaysia, hopefully.
or all that, all that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I know you're also a video content creator. So where can people find you and follow your stuff?
You can follow me at Mr. Eli Rooney. That's MrElirooNey. If you type that anywhere, I should pop up. And if it doesn't pop up because I don't have that social media account, so let me know so I can make that social media account. All right. Yes.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Eli. Good to see you.
See you too.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.